You want head from a woman you're attracted to. That's the first time a lot of guys think when they see someone. But they should really be starting the selection process of would you want to give head to her? And by the way, it's actually masculine to be the giver, and then the receiver is feminine. And of course, you can do all kinds of fun stuff together as a married couple, but you want to use the selection process. This is marriage advice, guys. 10 hard truths. And that was number one. Number two is that a woman wanting to work and you wanting her to work is actually a sign of an emergency or poverty. It's not ideal, it's not a flex, and it shouldn't be done unless necessary. Number three, when both men and women are wanting the woman to be in her masculine, then that's actually a rejection of men wanting a feminine woman, or it's emasculating to the man. It's saying, the man has no purpose to provide for me. I want to provide for myself. Number four, you can't think clearly if you have a girlfriend. I'm sorry, guys. Because you may or may not want to marry her. And by the way, marriage doesn't have to be legal. It's about life commitment and somebody who you actually want to go through the difficulty of life with. And unfortunately, my advice here is to break up and spend 2 to 3 years alone, all the while engaging in self-intimacy. All this will give you the post-nut mental clarity you need to make an accurate decision. But you got to forget the idea of boyfriend, significant other, or relationship. It's all kind of weak-minded and ambiguous for a strong, solid man such as yourself. Number five, it's an introduction to women's dark psychology and how men should perceive a woman. A woman can be seen as the body, the vessel, and then the man being the passion, the soul energy. And so in that way, a woman is similar to a teenager or a stray dog, and doesn't have that testosterone focused nature of I'm going to focus on this and commit to it. That's why it's harder to give advice to women and tell women things, because they don't respond to that type of logic. And that's why she needs to follow along with you and be your assistant in an ideal marriage, where you're giving her your soul energy and your money and your passion, and then she is reflecting that back at you, and you create this cycle. You're both submitted and committed fully to each other. Okay, guys, number six, never date, okay? Like I said, boyfriend or partner, all ambiguous words. We're dating. What does that even mean? Okay? It's actually being more emotional, and this whole romance, vulnerability, taking a risk of paying for things for the woman, and you're basically paying her so she can evaluate you. It's not logical, and it's not a scientific process of comparison where, first of all, you should only be giving your wife buying food for her and stuff. That's an act, a specific act. People like to say, oh, it's no big deal, premarital intimacy or dating. It's like, what else is there? How closer can you get to somebody? They think marriage is the ceremony, but that's only a kiss. The dates and the other physical intimacy is much more of a bonding agent. And women will say they like romance and they like to be chased. But remember, women are not rational. And all that playful romance should actually be reserved for marriage. And even intimacy, after you establish that you're good friends with a person, or you have shared values like similar religion, only then should you discuss intimate matters about bedroom, duration and frequency that you want intimacy, important things to decide, hey, are we going to be able to live together and enjoy each other? So number 7, unfortunately, yes, if you are in a relationship, then your girlfriend is directly interfering with you being available and you being clear-minded and ready for the right person. And to think if maybe she's the right person, you'll have to separate. The worst thing is to be with someone and attached to someone and somebody else comes along and you're not available for them. And you know that that's the right person for you. And by the way, forget this idea of knowing and thinking that you love someone. It's really got to be scientific. It's got to be, well, do they have a lot of values and interests in common? Number 8, another warning about women's perspectives. They respect power. They don't really respect logic of getting advice and talking. And that's why they do things like being advocates of big government, because they want that social safety net, that security that'll provide for them and be subsidies for all their child care and everything, when they should want to be the mothers. But the only way that's possible is if you have a husband. And remember, the government is not a substitute for a husband, because it actually costs more. It ends up if both men and women are working, they're paying taxes, and then the government's getting that, and all the bureaucracy, and it's similar like the insurance companies in healthcare. They're taking lots of the money rather than it going directly to healthcare. The government is not a husband. And if a woman ever says she does not want a husband, guess what? You tell her, hey, do you not want to be a womanly, feminine wife and mother? Number 9, the type of woman that you want for promiscuity, it's not going to be the same person that you want to marry. So your mind thinks differently for these two objectives. And the person that you become is very different as you're preparing to be a husband. And you really get to self-love and self-discovery and get excited about, this is the type of life I want and who I want to invite into it. And all this talk of women not wanting to submit to men, it's a mutual submission. You're all in. And it's really important that the woman, the idea of a woman buying herself gifts, it's supposed to be representative of the roles you play. The woman cooks food and does the laundry, and no other woman, she should not want any other woman to do that for her husband. There are special circumstances where maybe the wife has kids and they hire a maid or what, but generally the point is, it's the principle of the man works and that he protects and provides, and that's the feeling, and so he gets the feeling of doing that, and then the woman gets the feeling of being that supporter. And so it's like a team. Doesn't matter how much money you have to do these kinds of things for it to feel like you're working together. Number 10, it might sound common advice, but do the research. Huge decision, guys, serious stuff. And you got to research women's dark psychology and obviously research all the potential problems that people experience. Again, you want a woman who is not trying to emasculate a man, a woman who has the courage to say, I want to be a feminine woman. I want to honor my father and my brothers and not embarrass them by seeking random men, but having them help me to find the right man. And yes, a good man, that's how one way you know a good man is by he's talking to the woman's father before any intimacy at all, before marriage at all. And women think the inverse. They think that, well, all these men who don't want marriage, they're saying, oh, it's okay to be promiscuous, that's empowering, that's freedom. But really all they want is intimacy. They're not willing to submit and pledge themselves to commit to the woman, and she's and then she gives her body and her commitment. And for example, women think, okay, I can do whatever I want with all these, maybe F boys with attractive, strong bodies, but then it's like, why would you want to get attached to somebody, possibly even addicted to someone who is not your husband? It's not a flex. Similar to how it's not a flex to make your own money as a woman. In conclusion, life is simple, guys. Stop worshiping all the newest stuff that's all physical objects. And we have to treat women as the most valuable object. And it may sound odd, but that's what women really want. And in order to celebrate the feminine, the men have to do that. We have to sacrifice our lives for women. We need to celebrate that feminine so that women can be women, and celebrate the woman's flower, which means her external flower, which means that yes, men and women can have fun in the bedroom as husband and wife, but here's the thing. The main theme of life shouldn't be about the man's privates or about what he thinks of other men and other men's relationships and all these variables in life. Or for that matter, he shouldn't be worshiping a sense of wanting fame, or maybe he wants pity, or maybe you're a guy, or someone somebody's, if they're in prison for a 5-year sentence. Don't worship that either. You're not worshiping anything except woman's femininity, building towards every day, building towards having a wife every day, and celebrating that femininity and that flower. And there you go. That's where you get your peace from. You don't get it from hoping that money will give you that sense of peace, or that people liking you. No, you've got to stay focused. And that is how we create a peaceful world, by realizing that lots of different religions can all agree on this. It's pretty simple. We're celebrating femininity. We're protecting women's bodies. And the most orthodox, the most hardcore, like Islam or Jewish people, they'll actually agree on this. They'll say, hey, you're actually good. I can trust you around my daughters. You're family oriented. You're avoiding premarital intimacy. So that's a foundation for world peace. And what could get better than that? But we got to work on it, and we got to maintain it.